of fairies and princesses? Then you've come to the right place. Welcome to Disney Coast to Coast.
Hey folks, and welcome to Disney Coast to Coast. I'm Jeff DePaoli.
And I'm Patrick Dougal.
And today we have... Guess what we have, Patrick?
A lot of news.
A lot of news to talk about. We're going to bang through this.
That never happens.
Yeah, never. Because there's never anything going on. Yeah, way too much. So we're just going to jump right into this. Okay, I want to start with Legends of Frontierland Gold Rush. Hello. Over here at Disneyland. This is exciting news. More exciting is the fact that, like, I had heard nothing about this.
Yeah, neither have I.
It's really... You want to describe it a little bit?
I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a game. Like, they didn't put out so much information, but basically what it's talking about is within the park there's going to be a new story going on about a competing town with Frontierland.
Frontierland and Rainbow Ridge. And we've heard of Rainbow Ridge before. I think it might be part of Big Thunder Mountain or something. We've definitely heard of Rainbow Ridge before.
Possibly. And
so it's a land feud.
So Rainbow Ridge is kind of like dying out. Their town is going south. And they find out that Frontierland may have this giant pile of gold underneath their town or in Big Thunder Mountain, and they want to take this over. And within Frontierland, it's going to be essentially what I'm getting at is a game.
Yeah, it sounds... when I first read about it, I immediately went to... What is it called? Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom? That's immediately what went into my head from over at Walt Disney World. But the thing that I find interesting is they're saying it's an interactive thing where you become a character and it utilizes entertainment, merchandise, food, and other opportunities. So this sounds like this all-around interactive thing that I'm kind of excited to see. Like, I kind of feel like it can't really live up to what I'm expecting of it, but it's exciting for something brand new like this to premiere at Disneyland, because you guys have a few of those interactive things. You have Sorcerers in the Magic Kingdom. You had Kim Possible. Now it's Phineas and Ferb over at Epcot. Do you have any more of those?
We have the Pirates Adventure game in Adventureland as well.
Okay, so you have that, and then Aulani has something similar. We have nothing like that here, so it's kind of exciting. But the fact that they're describing it as like an all-new experience, and they're not comparing it to those things, I find intriguing. So I'm excited. It starts July 9th, and from what I understand, it's open, although there aren't a ton of details. My assumption is that it's open to anybody who has a park ticket. So definitely keep your eye out for Legends of Frontierland Gold Rush at Disneyland in California.
I'm weird and excited how they're including like food and merchandise in this.
Yeah, so obviously there's opportunity for them to make money with it, but I am... what is it, like buy a hot dog and your next clue is in there? Like, I don't know.
It's going to be a quest. It's like, now, go buy some corn nuggets.
Yeah, right.
It's like, okay.
At the bottom of your bag, there's a clue. Yeah, I don't know. But we will find out soon enough. And another reason why I'm surprised there's less details out there about it is because July 9th is like right around the corner.
Yeah, that's real soon.
So, and like I said, I've heard nothing about this. So it's exciting, it's crazy, it's wonderful. I'm excited. And it says you become a character, so you can be a villain or a good guy or whatever.
Ooh.
Maybe they give you a gun.
I hope so.
Shall we move on from there?
Yes.
I'm excited about it, but I have some sad news, but it's bittersweet sad news. Newsies is closing on Broadway.
Yes.
Newsies, truly one of my favorite musicals of all time. It's in my top 3. We'll be closing on Broadway August 24th. The reason I say that this is bittersweet is because this show was never supposed to go to Broadway. And then when it did go to Broadway, it was supposed to be a 1 month run, I think, or 3 weeks, something like that. And then it became an open-ended run due to its success. And now it's almost 2.5 years later. They had an amazing, amazing run. And I'm happy for them. The tour starts October 2014. I think it starts on the East Coast, right?
Yeah, I think it comes to Orlando, I want to say November.
Yeah, and it comes through LA spring of 2015. So the tour is starting. I actually have a theory here as to why. I mean, obviously ticket sales are lower than they had been, which is why they're closing. But I also hear that this is a very, very difficult show to cast. And I would not be surprised if some of the people doing it on Broadway end up going on tour with it. And I'm thinking that might be another reason for them to close. But
which would be pretty cool.
Oh, it's a fantastic show. Oh God, it's so good. It's so good. But so if you're in the New York City area before August 24th, I highly suggest taking your last chance to see Newsies on Broadway at the Nederlander Theater. So that's my note on that. You got anything to say?
Yep.
You're like, I've never seen it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I do want to see the tour.
Yeah, of course. Speaking of musical theater, Into the Woods.
Oh, there's a little controversy going on about that.
Yeah, and it sounds like the fans are more upset than Stephen Sondheim, which I always find funny. Discuss.
Okay, so a lot of people know Into the Woods isn't necessarily the most family-friendly musical out there. However, obviously adapted by Disney now, they're cutting a lot of the non-family-friendly moments, which is getting a huge uproar from the theater community about cutting these scenes, because most of them are vital to the plot, which means they're changing the entire story around.
Yeah. Have you seen a production of Into the Woods ever?
I have.
Okay. When I was a kid, especially, it was one of my absolute favorite musicals. I've seen so many productions of Into the Woods, it's ridiculous. If you're out there listening and you've never seen Into the Woods, there actually is a DVD available, although I don't know how easy it is to find these days. But of the original Broadway production, have you seen that, Patrick?
I don't think so.
It's really good. It's with Bernadette Peters and a great cast. And it's a great show. But it is all of these like grim fairy tales intertwined with each other. And it's interesting because a lot of times like schools will put on the show, younger performers will, and they'll only do Act 1. Because Act 1 ends with the narrator saying to be continued, because it's so like, it feels like the end of the show so much. But then Act 2, it's kind of like, the stuff hits the fan and things go south in that sense. So basically, I'm sure Disney's having problems with Act 2 because there's, adultery and such in the story. And because of it, they're, like you said, they're making changes. They're not killing certain characters that would normally die. They're writing new songs to cover up all of these changes. So it'll be interesting. But the thing that I find more interesting than anything is that Sondheim's kind of like, folks, cool it. It's going to be cool.
Yeah, he was kind of just like, he announced it. He just kind of like, yeah, they're changing it, whatever. And it's like, what? And everyone's like, wait, excuse me? Did you say they're changing it?
Yeah, it's a little crazy.
Which it's kind of, I mean, people are going to go see this, even non-musical people, but the fact that kind of your main audience towards this is musical theater people, and then you're kind of just like changing everything around.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
I've had reservations about this film since day one, and obviously I'm gonna go see it. Like, I always threatened. I said, I'm not gonna go see Les Mis. No way. Of course I went and saw Les Mis. Like, being a musical theater nerd, you gotta go see it. So, it's interesting. Speaking of films, Jungle Book. Did you hear about this?
I did. It's Jon Favreau's adaptation of Jungle Book, who, if you don't know who he is, he directed the first 2 Iron Man films, even before Disney acquired Marvel. But Ben Kingsley, who was in Iron Man 3 as the villain, kind of, not spoiler.
If they haven't seen it at this point, I'm sure they're not going to mind.
Oh, well. He's been cast as
Bagheera.
Bagheera, I almost sounded right.
Yeah, he's the voice of Bagheera.
Black Panther.
Yeah. So this is like a live-action CG hybrid. And Ben Kingsley is the voice of Bagheera. So this is, once again, just they're diving into their treasure trove of Disney animated films and making another live action. So there's now what's in the pipeline? We got Cinderella coming out, I think, next.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a Beauty and the Beast happening. We've got a Jungle Book happening. Is there anything else? I don't know. Little Mermaid.
Is it what?
Yeah,
is that announced?
Yeah, there's a
live action?
Oh, wait a sec. Is it Disney or is it not Disney? There is a live action Little Mermaid.
I don't think Disney's doing one.
Somebody's doing a live action Little Mermaid.
Okay.
Oh goodness, who? I think is it Francis Ford Coppola's directing The Little Mermaid?
I'll have to research that.
Oh goodness, now I'm blanking. There is a live action mermaid happening. Whether or not it's Disney.
How do you feel about these live action?
I don't know. I mean, as you know, I enjoyed Maleficent more than I expected to. It's just the whole thing once again of Hollywood in general, not just Disney, but lacking original ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So I honestly don't know how I feel about it. I guess for me, it's very much a case by case basis.
Yeah, my thing is like, we've had the past couple ones have been live action, but it's always the story that no one they want to just change it around,
which I appreciate, because frankly I've always said this is why make something again if it's not going to be different. Like, one of my biggest complaints about you're familiar with the musical The Producers?
Mm-hmm.
That was a huge smash hit with Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick. They decided one of the biggest Broadway successes of all time, they decided to make a feature film out of it. And it was literally like taking the Broadway play and just putting it on the screen, to the point that I was like, well, you should have just shot the Broadway play, like literally, and then done something with that. But instead they made a feature film out of it, and it was so close to the Broadway show with no changes that I'm like, well, what's the point? There should always be a point to it. I guess their point is, we'll reach a wider audience. But I'm like, you can reach that audience just by recording the stage show. So,
my question is, for someone who likes theater and is interested in seeing a taped version of the Broadway show,
mm-hmm.
that'd be cool. But I think you do get more audience as a movie rather than a tape version of a Broadway show.
I mean, I think that's debatable only because whenever they do tape a Broadway show, it never gets a wide release. It would be interesting for them to actually do that, shoot the Broadway show, and actually market it like it.
I can give you the example of they brought a tape version of Rent to the theater and then had the regular movie version. Obviously, that one did huge.
Yeah, but
I just know some people who are movie people and not even close to theater people.
But at the same time, when they brought the taped version of Rent, it was not as wide a release as the feature film was. They always they go through special releases, like through Fathom Events or whatever. And that's fine. Like, I get it. The theater community is like a niche audience, but, I think it would be interesting just to test that and really market it like a feature film and shoot it like a feature film, but on stage. And I don't know. And again, we're way off Disney talk.
I disagree, but
hey, Patrick, that's all right. We can disagree.
No, we can't.
Okay, I agree with you.
You have to agree with me.
Oh no, you have to agree with me.
Anyway,
we've got to move on. There's so much to talk about. So, Jungle Book, Ben Kingsley, the news. Okay, let's talk. We have a holiday coming up. It is very close to the 4th of July. Independence Day is here. Anything exciting going on at Walt Disney World for the 4th of July?
I don't think anything really different. It's usually the same stuff. You have fireworks at the Magic Kingdom, a special pre-parade, the normal shindig of 4th of July-ness.
What's the pre-parade like? At the Magic Kingdom, I assume?
Yeah, usually they have a little, I don't know, usually it's like a 4th of July pre-parade with like one parade and then Mickey in like his little outfit.
Okay, cool.
And you can, I think... Don't quote me on this, but I think you can meet, like, Colonial Mickey in Epcot.
Ooh, cute. I was actually going to say, does Epcot do anything special for 4th? Because they've got
they're 4th of July fireworks. They have a additional segment on top of illuminations, and it is amazing.
Cool. Yeah, we have our Disneyland 4th of July fireworks, which I have seen before, and they're really, really, really good. It's awesome. But beyond that, I didn't hear anything specific 4th of July-ness going on.
Yeah, it seems like this year's just going to be a normal, regular activities.
The fact is, though, it's like one of the busiest days of the year, at least at Disneyland. So I guess they don't really need to do much. But Disneyland is such Americana that I think people just want to be there on the 4th of July. So.
Yeah, I usually don't touch Disney around that time. I'll watch the fireworks from Polynesian or something.
Will they pump the music?
Yeah, but
Okay.
I'll never go into the park.
Man, that's funny. Speaking of Disney and 4th of July, and you mentioned a pre-parade, we have to discuss a little piece of Disney history known as America on Parade. Now, this ran from 1975 to 1977 to celebrate the USA's bicentennial 200th anniversary. And I got such a fabulous text from Patrick last night. Because I sent him a video of this, and he was just like, what did you say? I can't. I said
this parade, I just cannot deal with its amazingness.
Would you like to describe it?
I don't even have words to describe this parade. It is like watching a train wreck. Because it's so awesome and weird and creepy all at the same time.
Yes. Okay. First of all, let's describe the costumes. The costumes are very, obviously we're used to characters with big heads like Mickey Mouse and such, but these are just human characters like pilgrims and colonial men and such. And they have, it's a human body, and then they just have a giant, what looks like a giant paper mache head.
They all look like bobbleheads.
Yeah, where the actor's looking out of the neck, and then there's just a giant head above it. You can YouTube this, folks. It's interesting, to say the least. So the costumes, number one, are creepy. And there's characters like, Christopher Columbus and Ben Franklin. And then it's just kind of celebrating the United States history and some.
Yeah, it starts from the way beginning of us coming over to America and ends kind of at the end of where that era ended back in the, would you say 80s this was?
75.
75.
Yeah. So, yeah, I found the pilgrim section to be especially interesting. How about the part where they were disciplining the children?
Yes, I have that too.
You go ahead, talk about it. This is weird.
This one float, it's like a seesaw, and then obviously I don't think there's a person in this, but there's this girl, and she's just being dunked into water as punishment.
Yes. They're
and Disney's oh, check out this. Check out us punishing this girl and dumping her in water.
I think the narration of the video was, times were tough for the pilgrims, so they needed to work hard and discipline. And then they showed a little boy locked up in a, what do they call those things where you stick your head through and then your hands through?
Yeah.
They had a little boy locked up like that, and then they had this girl being dunked in cold water to discipline them. I was like, wow. What? All I kept thinking while watching this parade was, what were the foreigners thinking who were seeing this?
Oh, I know.
They must have been baffled beyond belief. So yeah, the pilgrim float was definitely a highlight, I guess. But also, it was interesting for what they decided to celebrate as far as the United States created the sandwich.
Yeah. They're everyone enjoys the hot dog and the hamburger, but the main thing is the giant sandwich. And they have this giant sandwich float just rolling down Main Street.
It was so weird. And then the telephone. We invented the telephone. So what do they have? A giant telephone float. It was so bizarre.
And this parade is long.
Yeah.
It was long. And there were so many characters. I wonder where all these costumes have gone.
And the only real Disney characters were right at the beginning. You had Colonial Mickey, Donald, and Goofy. And beyond that, it was just weirdness.
Well, they had towards the end, they were oh, we also had film come to the U.S.
Oh,
and then
yeah,
they
that's
had
right.
The Big Bad Wolf and Three Little Pigs.
Yeah.
And then a really creepy version of Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah. It was,
and they also had Snow White at the end.
So you're right. I forgot about that. So they had the film section where they were celebrating Walt's movies, essentially. One of the highlights, although unfortunately I couldn't find any video where I could actually hear this, but I was excited to read about it, was the Sherman Brothers wrote the song for this parade. It was called The Glorious Fourth. And unfortunately the video that was out there, it wasn't live. It was a produced by Disney video, and they were playing very patriotic music as opposed to the Sherman Brothers song. But I would have liked to have heard that. Unfortunately, we didn't. But
yeah. Well, did you notice there was one float where there was this elephant, and it was a costume, but it was on like a tightrope kind of
yes.
thing?
All I kept thinking was OSHA. I was like, oh God.
For the character person in me, I was like, this is the most dangerous thing I've ever seen happen on a float.
Yeah. It was, they were celebrating the circus, I think, right?
Maybe. And it looked like he was hooked into something, but the standing platform was like a rope.
Yeah, there were a couple of like balance beam tightrope type things that I was like, whoa, this does not look safe. And I did think, excuse me, I thought to myself, wow, how times have changed, because OSHA would never allow that these days.
I know, it's just the things you think about when you think.
I know, when you've been, by the way, if you're listening and you don't know what OSHA is, it's essentially the union that protects performers and not only performers, but ride creation and such as well. So, yeah, it was. You're welcome for introducing you to America on Parade.
I can't unsee what's been seen.
I know, and you'd never even heard of it before that, have you?
No, but I kind of would love to see it live.
You want to go live? I gotta tell you, when I got that text last night, I mean, I was with my friend and I just started cracking up, and she's like, "What is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Oh God, he's watching America on Parade."
Like,
so
limited time magic last year. This should have been it.
I know. Oh God, they should have a Disney Archives exhibit, America on Parade. That'd be amazing. Oh, so good. I want to move on quickly because we're running out of time, of course. Unless you had something else you wanted to add to America on Parade. No,
just please bring this back, Disney.
And seriously, YouTube it, folks. You can see the whole parade.
It will change your life.
Yeah. Well, I also watched on YouTube, Tokyo premiered a new show called Once Upon a Time. It's similar to your castle projection show, which is called what? I always forget the name of yours.
Celebrate the Magic. I don't know. It changes all the time.
Celebrate the magic, fantasy, wonder, and dreams of Walt Disney World in a magical expression.
Time and place.
That's what they call it. Anywho, this is a castle projection show, which, let me tell you, now this is, I saw the one in Florida. I know I've seen this one online. It's, these castle projection shows are amazing. And what I think is so cool about it is watching them happen. I just think to myself, and obviously this wasn't the case, but it kind of seems to me like these castles were built for these shows because it works so perfectly. It's fantastic. Did you watch the video of this?
I did, and it looks better than the ones we have. I mean, they look like they have more effects too. They had
lasers.
One over there looks like they added like lasers and stuff. But one of the scenes that really stood out to me was the Gaston and Beast fight.
Yes, that's exactly what I have written down too. I was wondering if you were gonna feel the same way. I was literally, I was watching this video and I was like, okay, you're not there live, you're not as drawn into it as you would be. When they had the Gaston and Beast fight, my jaw was like dropped. I couldn't believe it. Please, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, it's so, it works so well because it's like Gaston and Beast fighting. They're jumping from one tower to the next and grabbing on places where you really grab on if you were like fighting on this castle.
Yeah.
It works so well with it.
But also in that scene, I think really impressive was the rain. So they had it raining, but the way that the rain was projected, it wasn't just like, you're seeing beads of water falling everywhere. It was lined up perfectly so that when the water hit the rooftop, it slid off the rooftop and you could see it falling off of the rooftops. And this is just projected cartoon, on this castle. That Beast and Gaston sequence is fantastic. I would say the highlight of the show for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was curious if I was just going a little too overboard crazy with my excitement, but if you felt the same way, I'm like, okay.
No, it was really cool.
It was a special moment. That was awesome. Cool. So yeah, it's, another thing I found really interesting was how some of, so it's in Tokyo, so it's in Japanese, is it? Yeah, Japanese, a lot of it. But certain songs were in English, and then certain songs were in Japanese. So at first it seemed like songs were English and then dialogue was Japanese. But then certain songs became Japanese, and it weirded me out, especially since like the theme song, the original theme song written for the show, was in English. I'm like, you created the show for Tokyo, but the theme song's in English. It was so weird to me. I don't understand how they figure out that stuff. But
yeah, a lot of their stuff is both multi languages, but they like mix them together.
Yeah, so weird. But yeah, it's really good. Does yours incorporate fireworks at all?
At some points.
Okay.
Not like huge ones, but
yeah,
a couple.
So good. I wish that we could do that here. They tried to do it here over on It's a Small World, and they do it Christmas time. The Christmas one's pretty good, but it just doesn't have the same effect. Like this uses 20 projectors to get this show going, and it's fantastic. And
it's so easy to update. I mean, we've had so many versions of ours already.
Have you really? I thought there were only 2 thus far.
Well, we've had, I think we're on our 3rd one.
So you do it kind of like World of Color, where they'll just add little pieces.
Yeah, however, like during specific like celebrations or something, they'll add a segment or whatever.
That's cool. Since we're talking overseas Tokyo, let's hop over to Paris.
Yeah.
What's going on there, Patrick?
Ratatouille opened
July 10th. It's officially open.
New ride.
New ride, new restaurant.
Yeah, it's one of those newer trackless GPS version rides that Phantom Manor uses the same technology. So you're in this little rat, and you're on I haven't seen video of the actual ride yet.
You know what I'm calling it? It's called Ratatouille the Adventure. I'm just calling it Honey, I Shrunk the Kids the Adventure.
Okay.
Because once again,
because you're small.
Yeah, because they shrink you down and then everything around you is giant and you're racing through the restaurant and such. So, what the heck? I'm going to call it Honey, I Shrunk the Kids the Adventure. I am determined to get a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids ride into every theme park I can. So,
good luck with that.
You're welcome, America. But yeah, that's exciting. They got that opening. I find it, obviously, Ratatouille makes sense at Disneyland Paris based on the location of the story. It's kind of funny, though, because it doesn't really seem to... It's kind of a forgotten story over here, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really good movie. Really, really good. But, so yeah, Disneyland Paris, Ratatouille, The Adventure.
It's open.
It's open. Go see it. And shall we move on to trivia? I think we've run out of time here.
Yeah.
Yeah, was there anything else you wanted to say?
Time went so fast.
I know, there's a lot to talk about. Well, come on, when you get on America on Parade, I could talk for a half an hour alone just about that.
I know.
So good. But
all right.
shall I hit
me first?
I'm hitting you. Bam! Okay. So, at Disneyland, there is one attraction that you have to pay for after paying for admission to the park. Do you know what it is?
Like a ride?
It's not a ride. It's more of a game.
Is it the Frontierland shoot gun game?
Yes. Okay, you're so close. You say Frontierland
shooting gallery.
Shooting exposition.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, the Frontierland shooting exposition, I think it's like 50 cents or something, but it's basically a shooting gallery. And it's the only thing at Disneyland that you have to pay extra for as far as attractions are concerned once you get into the park. And there's 97 targets in there. And, you know, right now it's like infrared stuff, but originally they shot lead pellets. And they used to have to repaint it every night, so they would use 2,000 gallons of paint every year just to repaint the targets.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. So
I think ours is the same. I don't know. I think ours is called Gallery though.
Yeah, I saw a list of the names of all the different parks, and yeah, they did have different names. So, yeah. In any case, there you go. Frontierland shooting exposition.
Fun facts.
Yeah.
All right, since we're coming up on 4th of July and we talked about this. So over here and over at Disneyland, our 4th of July fireworks have the same exact name.
Oh, God.
Do you know the name of both the parks' 4th of July fireworks?
Magical Fantasy Dreams, Wonder, and Fantasticness of the 4th of July. Freedom? That's what it's called. Oh.
It's actually a really long name. Kind of like what you just said, but...
I did read it. I am blanking, though. I have no idea what's it called. Like, is it like celebrate the liberty and independence of...
Ooh, you're close. You got celebrate.
Celebrate the... Is the second word?
No.
Celebrate independence.
No.
Celebrate 4th of July.
No.
What? Celebrate America.
Yeah. But it's Disney Celebrate America.
Disney Celebrate America in the sky.
Oh, you're so close.
Disney Celebrate America in the stars?
No, you're right, but there's a lot more before that.
Okay, go ahead.
It's Disney Celebrate America, a 4th of July concert in the sky.
That's way too long.
That's the name of the fireworks.
Disney Celebrate America, a Disney 4th of July in the sky. Presented by
Disney
Honda.
4th of July.
Whatever.
Presented by Siemens.
Presented by Siemens. I love it.
Disney's Celebrate America, a 4th of July concert in the sky. Go check it out on 4th of July.
Check it out. And on that note, folks, have a happy 4th of July. Have a safe 4th of July. If you're a pyromaniac like myself, just be safe. And on that note, Patrick?
Or you can just go to Disney and let them light
That's
off
true,
the
too.
fireworks.
If you're near a Disney park, I actually am flying away from a Disney park for the 4th of July.
I am too.
But it's all right. We've done it. We're very lucky we've done it before. So.
Yes. We'll celebrate America without Disney.
Exactly. And folks, have a fabulous 4th. Patrick, I will talk to you later.
See you next week.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Disney Coast to Coast. Have a magical day.